think one of the main things that's broken down is the whole thing of communication, where people just don't talk to each other. They talk at each other, but they don't really give each other the time of day to listen to each other and talk together properly. And I think that if I look even deeper than that, at the cause of why there's this breakdown in communication, it's a question of respect, or rather a lack of respect. And if we were to come back to self-empowerment and recognize our own inner value and value ourselves, respect ourselves, then it's very easy to respect the other. And then I'm willing to listen to what the other one has to say.
Well, let's stick to another question, which is quite an important one. It's a fairly lengthy question. It's about soul, the questionnaire, in fact, talks about two issues: the way soul is interpreted in Bhagavad Gita as compared to the soul expressed in Brahma Kumaris. And from this listener thinks that there are two variants in terms of the interpretation of that. Can you elaborate on that?
I wouldn't claim to be an expert on the Bhagavad Gita, that's a starter, but what I would say is that the explanation that the Brahma Kumaris share with everybody about the soul is a very simple one, but more important than that is that you can experiment with this idea and try it out for yourself. For me, theory is whatever that may be. But if I'm given a tool that I can use and experiment with, then I can judge for myself how valid it is for me and how useful it is or not. And so what I was taught when I came to the Brahma Kumaris is that all that I am, everything that is the living being, my memory, my feelings, my conscience, everything that makes up me as an individual, a unique identity, a personality, is contained within this point of light. And this point of light is located here in the center of the forehead. Now, that's the theory. But when we meditate and we actually begin to feel this energy of the living being that I am, quite separate to this physical body, then that for me is then the assurance that yes, I am a soul, and I can start practicing this consciousness. If somebody tells me something and I have to believe it, then I can take it or leave it. But if somebody says, well, try this out and see how it works for you, and if it does work for me and it's my experience, then it becomes part of my life. And so the practice of the awareness of the identity of the self, which is absolutely the basic first step of spirituality, is something to experiment with, not just to read about or debate about or discuss, but to experiment with. And we've heard this word soul for millennia, but to experiment with it, I think, is something that we have to start doing now. And so I think that that's the most important aspect of spirituality or empowerment, to know I am that eternal being of light.
Another question, Sis Shivani, on this one to you. From a person who feels he or she is a reasonable person, nature, but every now and then appear to be moved sideways by other people's thoughts, other circumstances, which seem to be moving them away from being reasonable. How can they deal with pressures that are coming from sideways, moving away from your core values into something different?
Are we trying to put the blame on the other people for moving away from our core values? Again, like Jayanti said, is that when we're talking about ethics or our moral values, first question is, do I want to follow those values? Once I want to do them, nothing, and absolutely nothing, can take me away from it. When we are not able to take charge of our mind, we immediately blame people and situations. And when I blame someone else for the way I feel, my feeling becomes justified. You know, it's like if someone insults me or says something rude to me and I get hurt and I go through my share of pain, it's very difficult to say, I am weak and that's why I am feeling pain. It's easier to say, you were rude and that's why I am feeling pain. So it's so easy. You were rude, that's why I'm hurt. So for me to feel better, who needs to change? You need to change. So you change yourself so that I can feel better. So if I am going to go on telling everyone I meet that please change the way you talk, please change the way you behave, please change the way you think, it's not going to work. And I'm going to continue in my own, vicious cycle of pain. And when I realize that irrespective of whatever is the situation, I am the creator of the thought. When we do workshops with people, it's amazing to see that most of us feel that I am not the creator. The situation creates my thoughts. My thoughts are not created by me. They come automatically. We're such an automated mode. So we don't have the awareness that I am creating every thought. So when I start getting the awareness that I am creating the thought, then comes the next step of choosing which thought I want to create. So no one sways me or, takes me away from the core of my stability. It's only me who does it. It's just that when the stimulus comes from outside, I'm not able to retain my stability. And I say, this stimulus created my response, and I blame the stimulus. The only difference between a machine and a human being is a machine has no choice. But we have a choice. Yes, there is a stimulus. Yes, there are people who are aggressive, they are negative, they are pain, whatever. That's the stimulus coming from outside. I have the freedom to choose my response. But I will be able to create a positive response only if I have been working on myself. Otherwise, if my immunity system is low, then obviously I will catch your disease very fast. But if I work on myself and I maintain a high immunity system, then I can meet any number of people who are not feeling well today and still come back home healthy at the end of the day.
Well, a similar question from another listener who is particularly concerned about feeling hurt and feeling that other people who are causing the pain see this very much as a power, got one over you type of attitude. And she says, I am not in a position to challenge that, and I'm hurting. What do I do?
First and foremost, if all of us could just take this moment and ask ourselves, okay, when someone does whatever they do, it could be a partner walking out of a relationship, it could be someone cheating me in business, it could be whatever the situation would be. The situation is here. Who creates the hurt for me? Can everyone please answer that for themselves? They do what they did. They had their own logic for it. It may sound absolutely illogical to me, but they had their reason for doing it. That's fine. But who creates the hurt for me? You sure? Everyone? I create the hurt? When I understand this, it's a big shift for me. Earlier, I had this whole list of people inside here who have hurt me in my life. No? And then, when I understand that no one can hurt me, they can do what they want, but the only person who hurts me is myself, simply because no one else has an access here. Someone can physically hurt me because my physical body is in contact with someone else. But here, no one has access to the button here. It's only in my hand. So you can do what you want. Yes, I do get hurt, but I remember that I am creating the hurt. When I understand that I am creating the hurt, the next question for me is, how long do you want to be in pain? Decide for yourself. 1 hour? 1 day? 1 year? 10 years? Choice is all yours. The person is gone.
Quite often those sort of thoughts are difficult to get out. The happy thoughts go out of your mind very quickly. The sad thoughts, the sort of hurt thoughts, stay with your mind for a longer period of time. How do you deal with that?
That's because, again, we said it's begun with the quality of information we feed in. If my basic system is weak physically, then a little triggered from outside, a little change in the weather, a little wrong water, and I'm ill. But if my system is strong, let the weather change, let everyone around me be falling ill, I'll still be able to cross the situation. So it's based on how I've developed my system over a period of time. So yes, we have got into the habit of creating those hurt thoughts or painful thoughts, but when we understand we are the creator, we can change like this.
Sister Shanti, let me come, this is quite a serious question. Somebody who obviously has written to us in a situation where they felt everything is gone from them, in a position where there's no hope, and they're saying, you know, while we talk about positiveness, I do not see why I need to live. You know, so this person who's written this must be really in the low ebb, writing to us in that way. And there will be a number of people like that who feel life is no longer worth living and I want to go. How do we respond to people like those?
I think it's important to have personal contact with somebody who's in that condition. I don't think it's one answer that fits all, but I've had to talk to people at least 3 different times over the years who felt that way. And what I've done is to remind them of the good that they have within them, that at that moment in that darkness they've forgotten. And so when you remind them of their goodness, when you remind them of the people who do love them, because at that moment they feel that nobody loves them, that they're alone. And so the whole awareness has to change from the recognition that, yes, I do have value, that there is purpose in life, that there are people who need me to be here. But most of all, I think also, I think it's important for them to realize that life isn't something that is mine in a sense. It's a gift to me from God. And so I'm a trustee of this life, and so I have to care for it and look after it. But in a world which is very materialistic, we've forgotten about ourselves, and we've very definitely forgotten about God. And so in those cases, what I've done is to remind them of these things so that then their value for themselves returns again, and they begin to feel needed. When a person feels that they're not needed by anyone, that's when they feel that, well, what's the point of it all? But there are people who need me, and it is God who has given me this very precious life, and so it's up to me to now see how best I can use this life, and especially if you bring in this aspect of the value of service. When I become very selfish and self-centered, then I forget about serving others. But if my life is for service and I'm doing something for others, then the return of that is the joy and the blessings that I get. And so maybe even at times I've reminded people in that condition, okay, well, your value, you might not have value for your life, but your life is valuable to be able to serve others who need you. And that's again brought back a glimmer of hope within them. And so it's important to help people understand the value of life.
And you're talking about the positive messages out of that. And another question here talks about watching your programs, Sister Shivani. And he says, on all your programs you talk about feel positive and think of positive thoughts. So I find difficult to accept that concept is the question. So how do you a person who is finding it difficult to be positive to turn their message across to be positive?
First and foremost, we ask ourselves, do we want to feel that? You know, some people like pain. No? Some people like anger. Yeah? No? Because when I've understood and when I choose that I want happiness and I want to be happy every day, then where is the question of getting angry? But yet most of us live with the belief system that anger is the way work gets done. If we don't get angry, if we don't use a little authority with everyone, work will not get done. Children will get indisciplined. So we are the ones who are choosing to create negative thoughts. The day I'm able to change my belief system and I say anger is absolutely unnecessary, then is the day my journey will begin. But till I say anger is necessary, anger is normal, anger is natural, tension is natural. You know, these are the belief systems that we fed ourselves. Then we're trying to create positive, but it won't happen because the source of my thoughts are my belief systems. So I will have to first check my belief systems which are there deep-rooted. We're not saying that the beliefs are wrong. They're fine if you're comfortable with it. But if you're not comfortable the way you're going through life, then you will have to check at the level of the belief, not at the level of the thought. Because if you say anger is normal, anger is necessary, and then you're saying, I want to create a positive thought, the two things just don't match. So I first need to check my belief systems, and I say, happiness is natural for me. Happiness is my nature, it's my core being. Then is the question, next thing will be that the thoughts of positivity or happiness will arise from it. So important is first to ask myself, what do I want in life? And then program, because this is a program that we create, you know, like a computer program. So it all depends on what I want my program to do for me. So I program all the instructions accordingly. So let's stop, ask ourselves every morning, what is it that I want in life? And then create this program accordingly. If even for one day, I mean, we could take this up as an experiment for tomorrow, Monday, working day. If we could just take it up as an experiment that tomorrow, one day, beginning today evening to tomorrow evening, 24 hours, one day, let anything happen around us. Let anyone say what they want, do what they want. Let the world go upside down if it has to. Just for one day, I will remain stable. Is it possible? Is it possible? Is it possible?
A question being asked. Come on, respond.
Is it possible? No? Yes, of course it's possible. It's just that I have to decide to do it. That's all. And anyone who tries this for the next 24 hours, they will realize that self-empowerment is not something that has to be done. We're already very strong. It's just that we're not aware of our own strengths and our own power. Anyone who does this for the next 24 hours will realize that how much we were wasting our energy unnecessarily. It was not important, but they only have to remember it now for one day. They will realize how strong they are.
Like the final question to Sister Shanti, and this one talks about the Brahma Kumaris and says great books, great messages we get through the media and whatever, and it talks constantly about self-empowerment. It says we work so hard to get empowered, but why does one get disempowered easily compared to being empowered?
Is it easier to climb up the stairs, or is it easier to come down the stairs?
Yeah, faster.
So you can see that when at this moment we don't have any inner strength left, and some people have, I think, correctly described it as a state of spiritual bankruptcy. So in this state where we don't have that inner power, then to climb up the ladder takes a lot of determination and focus and courage and faith and respect for the self, value for the self. And so I think that if I feel that that's where I want to go, that's the destination I'd like to reach, then I'll keep going and moving, even though there'll be things that will try and pull me down, but I'll keep going. But of course, the general state of the world is a very negative state. That's a reality that we have to face. And so the conditions of the world will pull me down. But what I have to do is to find a way to protect myself from those external influences and keep moving towards my particular goal, my particular destination. And it's possible because I see others who are doing the same. I think there's three things that are important. One is to have information, and so what we've been doing today is sharing information. But the second is, I think, even more important, and that is my own inner practice. Sister Shivani has been emphasizing how it's what it is I need to do. So the second aspect is my own inner practice. But the third, I think, is also very valuable, and that is the right company. If I consciously choose company that I know has a negative influence on me, then that's the direction I'm going to go in also. But if I choose to switch company and find company that's supportive of my spirituality and my empowerment, then I'm going to be moving further in that direction in which I really want to go in now. And so I think that whatever the conditions of the world are, if this is my choice, that's what I'm going to do. And it's human nature. You know, not everybody can win the Olympics, but there are some who are so inspired that they say, this is what I want. And so when I want something, I make sure I get it.
Final message on empowerment from you, Sister Shivani, to our audience here, but also the audience watching us on television.
And the only thing to remember that it's not that the power is coming from anywhere outside, but I am a powerful being, a reality, a truth which I had forgotten. And that's why I was looking for control outside. And meditation helps me to remind me of those truths which I had forgotten. So let's go back into life with those people, the same workplace, no one's changed, but we are going back with a different perspective. And not that I want happiness, I want power, I want peace, but I am a happy being. I am a peaceful being. It's a treasure which is already there. It's just that I'm going to take care the whole day that I don't let it get disturbed. That's the only thing.
Sister Shanti, will you lead us in the final meditation?
Sure. If you'd like to just sit comfortably, I decide I go on an inner journey and I let the things of the world outside stay out there. And I turn my thoughts inwards. The awareness of the body fades into the distance. I become aware of the light that I am, the being of light, the eternal being. The body has a date of creation and an end, but the inner being, I the soul, am above time, no beginning and no end. I am. And in this awareness of I, the inner being, the soul, I connect with the treasures that I have within. Peace is within me. My original state of being, my natural state of being is peace. And as my thoughts become calm and my feelings become peaceful, I can begin to see the goodness within. I'd forgotten myself and I'd forgotten my own value. And now, seeing myself, I appreciate who I am. I am peace. I am truth. There's a truth hidden within me that I'd lost the key. And now I find the key, and the truth within reveals itself. The dust had covered all my dresses, and now the power of silence removes the dust, and I see peace and truth. I also see love. I come back to the awareness of this room, but now connected with peace, with truth, with love, so that I may share these through my thoughts, my words, and my actions. Om Shanti.
Well, thank you very much for that, and on behalf of myself, but before I do that, can I personally thank Sister Shivani and Sister Janti for participating in that, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
It's a wonderful experience. I feel that I'm now connected with so many people of Brahma Kumaris. It's a big parivar.
It was lovely. I like to continue this program. I found it very interesting because it's my first ever experience.
My experience was that it was very relaxing, and especially the meditation was very relaxing.
Wonderful. Very nice.
Very relaxing.
Calming.
It was amazing.